Bruce Springsteen is in Europe for the first leg of his latest tour. Thousands of fans shelling out a ton of money to escape their daily lives and see him perform. So how did he open the show? By viciously attacking President Trump.
In my home, the America I love, the America I've written about, that has been a beacon of hope and liberty for 250 years, is currently in the hands of a corrupt, incompetent, and treasonous administration. In my country, they're taking sadistic pleasure in the pain that they inflict on loyal American workers. They're rolling back historic civil rights legislation that led to a more just and plural society. They're abandoning our great allies and siding with dictators against those struggling for their freedom.
I fell asleep halfway through that. Well, Trump responded to Springsteen in a fiery Truth Social post, writing this, quote, "I see that highly overrated Bruce Springsteen goes to a foreign country to speak badly about the President of the United States. Never liked him, never liked his music or his radical left politics. And importantly, he's not a talented guy." I think he had the last word, Paul Morrow.
Wow. So I think, he's starting to remind me of Robert De Niro here a little bit, right? Which is, this is really a cry for relevance. What I was going to say is he can't read the room, but, maybe he can. And, the way I interpret this is that the room, being America here, has somewhat turned against him. We voted for Donald Trump. There's a reason Donald Trump is in the White House, having taken all the swing states. So Springsteen, for once, doesn't get what he wanted, cry a little harder. And, let's remember something else. Is he's supposed to be America's balladeer? Where's the ballad of Jocelyn Nungaray? Where's the ballad of Laken Riley, all right? He's talking about due process like he knows what he's talking about. He doesn't know what he's talking about. So he's done this kind of thing before. It's a struggle for relevance. We're going to talk about it later a little bit in the show, but I think it goes to what Tommy was saying. This is just a cry for relevance.
And Tommy, he was in England asking the audience, who's with me? Who's going to rise up with me? I'm sorry, I think that we answered that question a couple hundred years ago, but it's so ironic to me that he was somehow expecting some type of parade to follow this Pied Piper in England.
Yeah, there's a lot I have to say about this, but I would also hearken back to when I was a little bit younger. And I remember when the Dixie Chicks made that comment about President Bush, and they said that they're embarrassed or they're sorry that the president is from Texas. That effectively ended the Dixie Chicks. They're just the Chicks now. They took the Dixie out and solved racism. But I remember that, and I remember when Americans were really fired up about that, when they turned against that, and whether they liked President Bush or not, they did not appreciate that country music stars were disparaging the president. Now, this goes even further than that, obviously. Speaking to a foreign crowd about how you hate your country. But if we cared about the opinions of these celebrities, Kamala Harris would have won. She trotted out every celebrity, and every Democrat candidate before her did the same thing. Hillary, Barack Obama, all of them. Didn't work for Hillary, didn't work for Kamala. It's not going to work to resurrect his career. Again, he's a legend, but a lot of people are not going to take kindly to this. And honestly, so tone deaf to go in front of a foreign crowd and expect them to do something. We don't really care what they think, to be honest.
Yeah. And all right, so Kaylee, let's dig into him, too, as an individual. So Polestar reporting that in 2024 alone, his tour raked in $251 million, $6 million a night. And he's standing there on the stage lecturing people about the American worker. What petri dish is he from? Because it seems like, to Paul's point, 76 working American people voted in this president who represents them a whole hell of a lot better than Bruce Springsteen does.
It's a great point. In fact, I was reading this New York Times article, and this individual who works in media, her name's Janice Men, she had to me the quote of all of this. And it wasn't on this topic. It was about celebrity endorsements and whether they didn't work or did work, and they clearly didn't in the election. She said, Kamala could not get the endorsement of the Teamsters, but she got the endorsement of Hollywood. So to the exact point you're making, workers of the United States spoke out. Trump transformed the party. He won blue-collar workers. This is something Republicans have failed to do time and time again. So you can stand on a stage with millions of dollars and claim to speak for the workers, but you got a guy sitting at 1600 Pennsylvania who actually did that, got the votes to prove it, and has a movement behind him that Bruce Springsteen is not going to be able to stop.
Yeah, and Rosanna, Kid Rock was on Jesse Waters last night. He had something to say about it. Let's watch.
Pound for pound when it comes to heartland rock and roll, Bruce Springsteen's made some good songs, I'll give him that. Bob Seger smokes him any day of the week, in my book. I mean, Bruce Springsteen's another one of these liberals who has mountains of money that so desperately wants to keep his good standing in the eyes of Hollywood and the elite, but plays like this working class guy. You know what I mean? His politics are so backwards. I mean, just stay in Europe, Bruce. Have fun.
Well, you know, you even see the Hollywood elite kind of being quiet on the whole politics front. There was a time where they would go to the Academy Awards or the Golden Globes, and they would all talk about their politics, which was usually against Donald Trump. Now, if you notice the last Academy Awards season, everybody was very quiet. American audiences have gotten very savvy, maybe because we've been hit over the head with politics for the last few years. But I don't know about you. When I go to be entertained at a concert, I want to be entertained by music, not your politics. And I think that's why he had to do it in a foreign land.
And you know, can I make a point? When he's looking for a home here politically overseas, what he's missing is there's a guy named Nigel Farage in England right now who's essentially Trump adjacent and is polling higher than the traditional Tory party. So I don't think he realizes that he's right in the lap of somebody who's doing exactly over there what happened here. He's missing the point.
But I guess not to his audience that pays $6 million. Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.